For those of you who don't know me, I'm Brian. I'm a client strategist with Destination Think, and I work with DMOs. And we write strategies, and we do workshops, and we do coaching. And Rodney, our CEO, came to me, and he asked me, Brian, what would you like to talk about at SoMeT? And I think it took me about 5 seconds to come back with a reply. I said, I want to talk about email. And they're like, email? Why email? And the reason why I said I want to talk about email is because we do these little things called destination audits or DMO audits. And what we do is we go dig into every single thing that you're doing, your website, your e-newsletters, your blogs, your Facebooks, your Twitters. And we look at everything, we tear it all apart, we put it back together, and we provide recommendations. And after 2.5 years of doing audits, I have yet to see a single DMO do a good job with email marketing. It's true. It's quite horrific. So many opportunities on the table. So before we get started talking about what you can do with email and how powerful and relevant it actually is, I want to just go back into history. So I started out, I went to college, I was actually a history and political science major. So anytime I get to start digging into things, I always enjoy that. So a little history, this is our friend, Ray Tomlinson. This guy's a genius. He actually figured out how to send the first email message between two computers. So I wouldn't have a topic to talk about if it wasn't for this guy. So the first email that was ever sent, obviously this guy's a techie guy, not real creative, but he went along the top row of his keyboard and he sent out an email. The thing that he did that other people weren't able to do was that he was able to do multi-users and multi-computers. That was a huge advancement. Before, it was one computer, multi-user. So you could send messages to people on one computer and people could log in and you could get messages that way. But this guy figured out how to do it, between computers. And really, when you start looking at what we're doing with things today, that was groundbreaking. That was huge. That opened up social media. It opened up everything. So this guy gets a gold star for the day. In my research, I found that we have a couple of honorable mentions that we have to mention here. Tom Van Vleck, he figured out how to do multi-user on one computer. And then Leonard Klenrock, he figured out how to do it between two computers, which was fascinating. So I'll give them a participant ribbon, all right? We don't want people to feel left out. So, email started, ARPANET, all this interesting stuff, but in 1996, Hotmail arrived. I think everybody had a Hotmail account at one point. I think I still am forced to have one in many ways. But anyway, in 96 is when email really started to kick off and people started connecting with people online. By 1997, the year I graduated high school, Hotmail was it, 8 million users. Microsoft took notice. They bought it for $400 million. Look what's happening now with apps and different social networks being bought out, little utilities that are selling out. Hotmail is really a big deal. Also, just a little bit of trivia I ran across. Why Hotmail? It's basically HTML mail. I thought that was kind of cool. I never really thought about it, right? Never really thought about it. And I thought this was funny. I ran across some early advertisements for Hotmail. A whopping 2 megabytes of free storage on your Hotmail account. So we've come a long ways. Basically, email really caught on. We all got them in college. We got them in high school. We have them for our personal lives. The other thing that happened is that marketers really picked up on it too, and they saw the opportunity. And once marketers get their hands on things, there tends to be a real, there's a tendency to kind of ruin things and break things. So they kind of got ruined for a little bit. We stopped communicating honestly and started spamming people's inboxes, so much so that by 1998, the Oxford English Dictionary added the word spam. Everybody knew what it was. Everybody was getting spammed. In 2003, we had to pass laws to prevent spam. I can thank George W. Bush for that law, Can Spam Act. Right on. Love it. So basically, in 2003, something happened. Social media started to pop up on the scene. And marketers were really excited about this stuff. And we started turning a lot of attention to it as the years went on. And poor little email marketing was looking at this thing called social media, and it was like, who is this? And what does this mean for me? And marketers started making out with social media. All right? It's exactly how it is. The emails that you're sending out today are the same emails that you were sending out probably as a DMO in the year 2000. It probably hasn't changed a whole lot. So instead of this type of a scenario where email feels unwanted and feels that social media is stealing their thunder, email needs to embrace social media and they need to have a cuddle fest. How are you looking at that, right? Like, our emails are just standalone little to-do list objects at this point when we're not integrating what's going on. And if we can make our emails as precious and as memorable as this little kitty right here, I wish that was my cat. It's not. So let's talk about the typical e-newsletter. This is what I think of when I see a DMO e-newsletter. That's the bulletin board at the post office. Next 10 events coming up in the next month. No rhyme or reason as to why we're talking about the craft fair or the Poppy Festival or whatever it is, or maybe the model airplane club meeting. You know, we're sending this stuff out to potential visitors. It's a hot mess, is what it is. Here's an example of an e-newsletter I got from a DMO. I am so inspired. I am. I have to go to the Governor's Cup, and I have to go to the D-Day reenactment. Which is funny, because a D-Day reenactment, that's a pretty darn cool event. But this isn't doing that justice at all. So we're failing. Here's another one. There you go. Just went to my calendar of events page on my website, copy and paste. There you go. Maybe you add a couple links in there, hyperlink, and that's about it. So what are the biggest problems with email? So going through, we've done a ton of research with different clients. And you know, the findings are really, really clear, at least in my opinion. It's lack of inspiration and vision. We're not thinking through the process. Like I said, it's a to-do list item. It's something that we got to get off our plate so we can go and do other roles. We're saying way too much. Through the research that we did, it was 3 to 5 items or less. And almost all the DMO newsletters that I see are packed with so much content that it's overwhelming people. It's off target. It's not working. We're not speaking to audience interests. If there's one thing that I could do, well, no, this would be a little bit dramatic, with my time on Earth, would be to get rid of the general email database. Because it's so hard to speak to a broad audience. You know, we're bringing in people into this huge bucket database. We have no idea what they want. We have no idea what to say. So if we can fix that, eliminate that, and I'll give you some tips on how we can do that, it's going to make our messaging a lot more relevant, and that's extremely important. Absolutely no integrated planning at all. Guys, we spend time creating awesome content on Pinterest or Instagram. We're paying bloggers or writing blog content. And so much of the time, what I see you guys doing is you put your blog post up, you tweet about it, you forget about it, it's done. Maybe you do a YouTube video, you put it up on YouTube, you tweet about it, that's done. Your email database is extremely powerful. These people have opted in to a very, it's a very powerful, can I get your email address? And we're really dropping the ball when it comes to fostering that relationship here. The other one, again, it's a to-do list item. That is the #1 recurring theme that I see when I talk to bureaus, when I look at research, time spent putting these things together. It's just get this email out of the way. Get the old lady off the couch. I got to do some social media, or I got to write a blog, or I got to go on a fam trip, or something like that. So big tendencies. We're hoarders. We love the emails. We love saying that, oh, I got a bunch of opt-ins. But we throw them in a bucket, and we throw them on the back of our desk or on top of our file cabinet, and it's just a number. It doesn't mean anything. We never communicate with them. We got a fever for email marketing, and the only prescription is more emails. That's it. That's all we want. We want more emails. We don't think about what we're actually trying to do. Lead acquisition. I'm sure you guys have done these WooBox campaigns. You've done wildfire apps. You know, you probably got a sign-up form on your website. You got all this groovy stuff going on. Before, we were able to convince people of the like, and that's what people really liked about this stuff. But now, Facebook says never. No more. No more will you force people to like your page. Now we're starting to see a little bit more value in that email address that we're getting people to opt in on. It was always kind of a secondary add-on. Be like, I got 10,000 likes. Oh, and I got 3,000 opt-in email addresses. Just kind of a side note that we got that. After people opt in to the email, one of two things happens. Crickets. We never communicate with them, or we take our sweet time in communicating with them. Maybe they get an email in 6 months when you finally remember to send out your e-newsletter again, and they don't even remember why the hell they signed up in the first place. Probably has nothing to do with the reason why they signed up anyway. I've seen it a million times, guys. Run a golf promotion. I'm a golf destination. You're finding and targeting, using all the tools on Facebook to find every person who loves golf within all your feeder markets. They sign up. They like you. They sign up for the email. And then we never talk to them about golf again. In our e-newsletter, we're sending them things about the craft show. Dude, it's true. It's everywhere, and it's horrifying. The other thing we do is we send them a bowl of oatmeal. You don't even put sugar in the oatmeal. You don't put milk in the oatmeal. You don't put cinnamon in the oatmeal. You just throw a bowl of oatmeal at them. Enjoy my list of upcoming events. Maybe, just maybe, one of them might resonate with you. Doubtful. Let's get rid of the oatmeal. Love this. Earlier today, said strike while the iron's hot. I couldn't agree more. The key is to keep striking it, to keep it hot. And that's where we're dropping the ball. If you're running campaigns and you're waiting weeks or months to reach out to these people, it's gone cold, and it's going to take you a hell of an effort to get that metal hot again. So when people are opting in, you got to start thinking in the form of triggers. Hit them back. Use email as it was initially intended, a communications tool, not a billboard, not a bullhorn message out to people. There's real engagement opportunities within email. These are dedicated people who love what you do. And when you look at it in alignment with social media, man, those are some pretty valuable fans right there. Let's get them talking. How can we get them talking? Let's push them to the conversations. The database. Again, I said it once before. Let's get rid of this thing. It's a beast. It's old school. It's useless. We've spent tons of money building a database, probably over the last 10 years. Email leads. Those come in. This is what everybody's doing. Not everybody. I'm sure some of you are making some sort of a small effort to actually segment. But it's a general e-newsletter that goes out to everybody. It takes you 10, 15 minutes to put together. And it contains events, contains some more events, and then it's got some more events. And that's what we're doing. Maybe there's a coupon or something at the bottom. Maybe. If you can work with your partners enough to provide some value that you can actually, but that's a whole other topic to talk about. Got to get rid of this model, you guys. Segmentation is the absolute key. When we're building our Facebook audiences and we're using targeting tools, what are we doing? We're targeting interests, right? We're finding what do people like? What can people relate to? Why did they join us? And we pay attention to that. It's time to pay attention to that in email. Personalization of message. If you're going to send out a general email, I would say just save yourself some time and just not, right? Until you do a little bit of research. So your sign-up process, I went through I've done tons of these audits. I see these websites. Sign-up form. Little thing at the bottom, usually at the bottom of the page. Very rarely is it even prominently at the top of the page where it should be. Enter your email address. Submit. I love it. It's easy. It's really freaking easy. But what does that tell you about the person and why they joined you in the first place? Nothing. Nothing at all. You got to start asking people why and catering the content for why they signed up. So sign up, stay in touch. That's great. Add a question in there to say why. Are they foodies? Are they into family getaways? You know, are they skiing people, adventure people? They love NASCAR races. Once they tell you that, that's a segment, and that's what you talk to them about. When you have an awesome NASCAR photo, you know, you're at the race, you're taking Instagram photos, or maybe you've got a blogger came in and wrote a blog, that's an e-newsletter. Include that stuff in the e-newsletter. Make some touch points. You know they care about this. So it's extremely important. And as you move forward, you're going to end up with some niches. You're going to have one niche, maybe your golf, maybe your lakes, maybe your water sports. I don't know what you are. You know what you are. And if you don't know who you are, you better start asking yourself that question of, like, what am I really remarkable at? What sets us apart? What is our differentiator? And once you identify those, and I would say that's probably, maybe it's one thing that you're really great at. Nothing wrong with that. But most likely, there's going to be a few different things that you're going to be able to talk intelligently to and in an entertaining way that people are going to really love about you. So start thinking about that. Fix the sign-up form, okay? It's very important. Just go and do it. It costs somebody $50. Just make the change. Because then you have some actionable information and you know what kind of content that you can start delivering. Here's the big question. You've got the giant database. You've been getting them for 10 years. I have no idea what these people want. It's not useless, but you got to spend some time wringing out that list to try and figure it out. And one way that you can do this that's very, very easy is just ask. Start asking your audience what they want. We spend way too much time trying to guess our way through life. I'm assuming that they would really like this. I see value in this, but what you have to look at it from their perspective. Who's your audience? The audience perspective is very important. And a really cool way that we've done this is a simple survey monkey. A great little survey that you can deliver out to your audience to try to figure out what makes that list tick. And when you create a solid survey, you can drag a lot of information out of people, all right? We can ask them what their interests are. And then we can take that data sheet and we can filter out and we can create some new lists. We can create some new segments and start refining and getting better. Just ask. A great way to do this is to put a little incentive into it. In this example, it could be a little Visa, Amazon card, or something tied to your destination, preferably. You know, something that relates to your product. That would be pretty damn cool. But that incentive really does get people to spend the time. And in the research that I've done, or the surveys that we've done, when you tie an incentive to it, you can ask a lot of questions, and people fill them out. They will fill them out. You got to ask, though. I mean, I've done surveys out to huge databases of 40 questions or more. You know, but the thing that you need to keep in mind is ask the right questions. I've seen some of these surveys, and we're asking, you know, what kind of computer do you use? What's your operating system? Do I care? No, stop wasting my time. You have to start asking the right questions. And the biggest one is, you know, what is it most about travel and tours and email newsletters that do not meet your needs? The content does not meet my specific needs. Every single one. Unsubscribe rates, or just unopens, ignoring, is because you're not bringing any value to them. There's no reason for them to open it in the first place because you dropped the ball. You broke that relationship. Here's some things don't ask. Don't waste your time with these questions. Desktop versus mobile. There's plenty of research out there, all right? Mobile consumption is absolutely growing. And you know, any kind of email platform that you're using, just optimize it for mobile in the first place. Single column. Keep it simple, nice and clean. What operating system are you using? I don't know, dude. What browser they use? All right. And how important is a subject line? I hate that question. Go and ask your consumers, how important is a subject line? Come on, we know they're important, and we know we got to spend some time crafting that stuff. Do ask, what's valuable to them? Ask them, have they visited the destination? Do they have kind of an idea of what you are. Have they experienced it? What's their perspective? What types of content do they want to see? These are obvious questions and very simple ones to ask. Ask them, what's the best timing and frequency of messages? A lot of times, in the research I've done, is that once a month is fair. But the problem is that, yeah, once a month is great, but what if you're a ski destination? Once a month doesn't cut it. Maybe it makes more sense for you to do, some seasonal stuff and then do some weekly stuff. Think about the audience and the product and just don't assign yourself to, well, I'm going to send out one a month. That's it. You got to take this a little bit further and ask your audience, what's comfortable? Because I don't want to be intrusive. Just ask. And finally, what are they most interested in? And this is a huge opportunity to take that giant database of 30,000 emails and get an answer to one simple little question so that you can then export it, refine your list, and make that junk, garbage, general list valuable. At least more valuable, so you have an idea of what to talk about. The important thing is that you listen. Listen to the information. Stop making assumptions. God bless our partners. They've got great events. They work really hard to put on the events. But just because Grandma Sue at the soup kitchen is having a chili feed on Saturday and wants you to put it in the e-newsletter doesn't mean that you should. There are different avenues for that. You got to start taking control of the messaging and stop letting the partners just push you around and put the guilt complex on you. It's responsibility to our audience to not water down our messages. So just stop being pushed around by it. So the process that we use, do a survey. Find out about these people. This database needs to go. Deliver it. Get the results. Spend some time with the results. They're very important just to kind of get a feel, a vibe for what's going on. And develop a strategy. Segment those lists. And, start looking for the content that's actually going to resonate with these different audiences. And finally, you're going to deliver it. And the results that we've seen after you start segmenting and you start simplifying are pretty remarkable. I think industry average right now is like an 18% open rate. Back in the heyday of email marketing, we were looking at 80% open rates. So any improvements we can make on that are great, right? Messaging, improved messaging, people are going to open it up. That's fantastic. Instead of serving a bowl of oatmeal, start looking at your email in a niche. I like coffee. Send me an email newsletter about coffee. I like Wheaties with blueberries. Maybe that's your Arties, right? Stop giving that bland oatmeal and start delivering really enticing, delicious, small segmented pieces of content to your different niches. The big thing is limit yourself. We don't want to make your life harder. We want to make your life easier. And I'm going to show you how we can make your life easier, because people freak out about writing content, freak out about writing blogs, writing content. It's very stressful. 3 to 5 items or less. I get a number of email newsletters from brands that I love. Jeep is a brand that I absolutely love, and I think that they have brilliant email marketing. It's usually one message that they know I care about and I'm going to want to know about, and Jeep doesn't bother talk to me about a Cherokee. They talk to me about Wranglers. Don't talk to me about the Patriot. That's not a Jeep. It's not a Jeep. No. And those 4-door Jeeps, don't even get me started. Yeah. Single column, guys. And we've spent a lot of time looking at e-newsletters. And people get into this really huge creative process when they're creating an e-newsletter. They think, oh, we need badges over here, and then we're going to put these colors over here, and we're going to, it's going to just look like a little mini website. Guys, we got to keep it simple. Any of you guys ever just get these pains in your wrist? We're a scrolling culture, guys. Keep it simple, whether you're on a desktop or a mobile or whatever it is. If we're delivering content in a condensed form, easily browsable, easily connected, Just make your life simpler and go with a single column. Be visual. You shouldn't have to write a ton of content. I mean, the whole point of doing email is to support other things. Mainly it's probably your website or your calendar of events or whatever it is you're trying to do. But if you can get more visual, start tying some of the pieces together of some of the content you're already creating, we're going to do a better job of inspiring people rather than just an event list, a bunch of text that links back to a horrible, horrible no-no that I'm going to talk about here in a second. Send them somewhere. You got to have a plan to send them somewhere, and when you send them someplace, don't suck at it. Like, send them someplace good, someplace of value. Less is more. Less is more, and you can resonate more with your audience. I'd rather have that gold coin, that Liberty dollar right now, than a pile full of quarters. So when somebody's opening that email, let them say gold, not a watered-down quarter. You know, a whole ton of quarters. Yay, it's great, but it makes a lot of noise and it's annoying. That gold coin, that one piece of great content that can inspire them and maybe move, that's good stuff. Go mobile. I think it's a no-brainer. It's where we're digesting this stuff. Again, ouch, killer. Move beyond events. Some of us do a pretty good job of that. We include our logos. Our social media logos are in our email newsletter. Fantastic. They're usually at the bottom, under a bunch of text. Oh, by the way, we're on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter. Even though we dedicate tons of time to it, it's like a side note in our e-newsletter. That's fantastic. Great to see that you put social media in that space. But how about leading with some social content instead of just a link to a profile? Why do people interact with posts? Because they're interested in it, and they click on it, and then they like it, and they comment on it. Maybe they share it. Maybe they do something with it. But we got to provide them the vehicle to start clicking through and doing some of this stuff. So start looking at your content. Our photos. Go and look at your last e-newsletter, and go click on the photos. 9 times out of 10, well, maybe that's a little harsh. I'm being a little harsh there. Maybe 7 out of 10 times. The photo is not even linked to anything. Or the photo is linked to whatever standard link you've got in whatever piece of content that you're trying to sell. How about if we take advantage of the photos and link up some of our Pinterest content relating to that? I love this approach. Because number one, Pinterest is familiar. They click through to that, and we can build a connection point with the consumer. They love whatever's going on here, bourbon country in northern Kentucky. They click through the Pinterest account. Maybe they follow your account, and now you've created another touch point with that consumer. Now they're not just waiting for your e-newsletter. They're going to see your content a little bit more regularly. Blogs. Boise does a really cool thing in their e-newsletter. And they're the only ones that I've really seen that have done this. They go to local people, or sometimes it's a visitor, or sometimes it's an attraction or something, and they ask them, what are your favorite things to do in Boise? This guy does, he's an Idaho mountain biking touring guy. And he paints a story, almost an itinerary, right? Guiding people. He's like, well, I really love to go riding horses in the foothills, catching a concert at the Botanical Garden, the Shakespeare Festival in the summer is awesome, and, you know, paint a picture, tell a story. Don't just tell people to go to the Arts and Crafts Festival that's happening from 9 to 5 on Sunday. We got to inspire, and why is it worth coming for the weekend? Educate them. Use this as an education opportunity to tell a story so you can paint something in their minds to be like, yeah, that would be kind of a fun weekend. Use content like that, your blog stuff. I mean, we all know the top 5 lists or the top 38 lists or you know, step-by-step itineraries. How-to content is very digestible, highly shareable. That has to include in here. YouTube. Man, one thing that blows my mind more than anything else is the YouTube presence of most DMOs. We use it as a free storage mechanism, and that's it. We put up our video there, maybe we tweet about it, maybe we post it on Facebook, but then that's all that ever happens with it. It stays there. I thought the guy made a really good point earlier today about recycling evergreen content. It's so key. Your e-newsletter, when it's segmented and you know what your audience is looking for, this is a huge opportunity for you to embed, engage. A little trick that you can do, if you're not a coder or whatever, screenshots are really fantastic. Go get a screenshot of that Pinterest board, get a screenshot of the video, and put it in there. It's very familiar. People will click on it, and they'll have access to that content. I think sometimes we get a little too creative with things. We think we're all fancy pants, and then all of a sudden we're all designers, and we're creating widgets, and we're trying to do all these different things. Where sometimes you just need to keep it simple, functional, and recognizable to the consumer. Because when we start getting a little too creative with the Facebook icon, and we start branding the icon to our brand colors, I think we're kind of losing people. How about Instagram? Can't get much more visual than Instagram. And let's drive users from our e-newsletters into our Instagram channels. Feature content, not the channels. Feature your best content. So like one great thing that I love to see is like when you use your audience to help write some of your blog content. You go to Facebook and you ask them, what are the top 3 places to get a burger in Memphis? And they give you all this feedback, and the post blows up, and it's really, really fantastic. You can take those, write a blog post about it. Then you can take that blog post, and you can put it in your e-newsletter, and you can ask them, what did we miss? And then link them into the conversation. See what I'm saying? Guide them into the conversation. Don't just throw stuff at them against the wall. We have huge opportunities to get them involved on our other channels. So I want you to start thinking of your e-newsletter as an opportunity to connect and engage with your audience across multiple channels. Building touch points, using your best content that you have going on. If you're doing it monthly, you know what post rocked. You know what Instagram photo worked. And you can segment that out and start driving those e-newsletter subscribers right on over to your other points. Landing pages. Hashtag that. If you guys are tweeting, I want to see a hashtag landing pages because it's that important. This is an example of a link that I clicked on in an e-newsletter to go to the Hickory Hideaway Holiday Painting class. That's where we're sending people. Saturday, November 18th from 1 to 3. It'll last 2 hours. There's a map. That doesn't even allow me to get directions. It just shows me a point on the map. Come on, let's help people out. Guide them there, right? And then a great little, suppose they did an ad in the newspaper, so they figured, I might as well throw that in there too. Landing pages are so important to your e-newsletter, and I think that they're really, really missed because it's so easy for us to just go and copy that link on our events calendar, link it, and send people to that page. Spend some time integrating content on these landing pages. Again, think of the discovery process and think of ways that you can get people digging into a story. If I'm really into this painting class, I want to see, and I'm into it, right? I signed up for your painting class e-newsletter segment, which is massive. And I want to go to that event. Well, then send me, integrate some content from maybe a Pinterest board. Or do you have a video of the event? What you want to do is you want to kick off the discovery process, get people excited, keep digging. Like when you get something, you see something on television or read something, see something on Facebook, and you're interested in it, you go Google it. There's 15 minutes of our life that we'll never get back again because we're just drilling down into links. We're extending the story constantly. I think a great analogy that already came out of SoMeT this year was guide the elephant. I thought that was a really strong point. We can guide them and push them through this content. And when you start integrating, and this is way bigger than just email, but for email in this case, send them to a great landing page so they can just spend 15 minutes of their life discovering that and getting really turned on by that. So let's stop this. Landing page, so important. Initiate the discovery process. Let's inspire people. And in the back of our minds while we're doing that, we're also just, we want them to connect with us in other places and stop sharing those logos. When I pitch this to clients, a lot of times they're, but Brian, now I have to make 4 e-newsletters. And they're very sad about this. But when you start breaking these messages down, your job's going to become easier because you know where the content is. You know where it is. You're looking at it every day. You know what your great content is. And when you limit yourself to 3 pieces or less, or 3 to 5 pieces of very short, concise content, you can put these things together really, really fast. Instead of like sitting down and trying to write the Declaration of Independence every time you want to do an e-newsletter and stressing about, what did I miss? What partner's going to call me and say, hey, my Lefse festival wasn't in there? You guys probably don't even know what Lefse is. Yay. So it's not more work. And even if it is more work, it's probably going to be worth it because you're going to be speaking more on task with these different consumers. You're going to be talking about things that are actually important to them. Another important thing is that it's not all, just push. We have so many awesome tools now that our email database and its value is a lot more than just the email that we're actually sending out. Custom audiences, are we using them? Who's using custom audiences? A few hands. Guys, you are sitting on a freaking gold mine. Even if you don't send out an e-newsletter, if you have a database of email addresses, upload that thing to Facebook and let them identify Facebook accounts that are tied to those email addresses. Don't worry, the user will never know that that's the tool that you use to find their accounts, but you can deliver content to them that way. Huge, absolutely huge. I think some of the most successful, highly targeted and relevant campaigns I've been a part of was that custom audiences segment is so powerful because they already love you. They've already opted in, and now you're touching them on another network. The other thing that I love, you guys have heard of custom audiences, I'm assuming, right? We're just not using them, so use them, all right? It's basically very simple stuff. The other thing you can do with this is you can create lookalike audiences. So really what you can do is you can like double the size, or probably even more, double the size of the database that you're targeting based off your little lowly little email database and find people who are similar to those other accounts. So if Facebook goes out and they find 700 Facebook users that are in your email database, you can build a lookalike audience. And Facebook will go and do what they do best, know every single detail of our lives, and compare it. And they'll deliver you a lookalike audience that you can start targeting. And the key is, again, when you do that, to stay on topic, right? Talk to people, deliver people content that you know that they actually want. And that's why I love targeting groups. For those of you guys running ads, I mean, it's a pain. The interfaces change all the time on Facebook, and trying to figure out, okay, why, what interest was it? Save these targeting groups on Facebook for your different niches. If you've got NASCAR people, you have a targeting model that is saved, ready to rock and roll when you have a piece of content that you want to deliver to that audience. Really utilize that. That's going to save you so much time to do some of those saved target groups. There you can see the custom audiences, lookalike audiences. It's just do the legwork up front and make it really easy to select that stuff right there. Landing pages. Huge opportunities for us in the world of retargeting. Think about it. We're sending people to our blog, or we're sending them to some area on our website. We can drop a tracking cookie on their machine and reach them on Facebook, Twitter, Google. Guys, there's so many different retargeting tools out there. But we're not thinking through that whole process. It's a huge opportunity. We know that we're going to be sending traffic to the site. That's our whole purpose of sending the e-newsletter out. So why don't we take it one step further and start retargeting against those audiences? It's there. It's an opportunity. We're leaving things on the table here. So I would really look into it. I know Facebook is very straightforward. Retargeting a year ago was a pain because you had to work with a third party and you had to do all this different stuff. But now It's something we can all do. So start looking at ways that you can actually do that. The idea is, we have a lot of places. Our website's the center of the wheel, and yes, we probably have spent way too much money developing our website and maintaining it and all these things, and we've moved our attention into social media. But email is just, it's forgotten. The one thing that makes email a lot different than everything else is a point somebody touched on this morning. Rented versus owned. We already own it. We own it. We control what we do with it. We control who gets it, when they get it, when they're going to see it. We can control that. On rented space like Facebook or whatever, Twitters or Orkuts or whatever the hell you're using, the rules are constantly changing. With email, it's your rules all the time. You can change and adapt as you see fit. Hugely powerful. Facebooks of the world, Twitters of the world, they've got shelf life. And by shelf life, I mean is, think about it. Like Facebook could be one massive privacy breach away from imploding. Think about it. If 1 billion users all of a sudden had their Facebook profiles whipped out publicly for some crazy hacker who got dumped by his girlfriend, and he's like, I'm going to destroy the world. I mean, that's stuff that can happen. It's dramatic to think that way, but it's possible. Things change. Our email addresses are going to last forever. Forever is a little much. People might change email platforms. People might have spam account emails, things like that. But for the most part, we stick with our email addresses, kind of like we stick with our phone numbers. We stick with these things. Social media is fast moving into pay to play. If you want to reach your audience, you got to pay to reach them. And that's fine. But if you deliver good content, we saw today that, yeah, you can do it organically, but you got to keep it up. You already bought email, whether it was some campaign that you ran, or it was a Facebook thing, or you developed some sort of your sales team went out to a trade show or something, and they had people fill out a form to sign up, however you guys are doing it. There's a million different ways to do it. But you already own it. And when you start looking at the greater, possibilities with retargeting or custom audiences, supporting the awesome stuff you're doing on social media by reaching these different audiences, let's take advantage of that. So really, amazing fantasy number 15, with great power comes great responsibility. I look at those email subscribers as pretty darn valuable. And we could debate all day, try to put a dollar amount on it. The point is that we touched somebody with a message, and they converted into a relationship with you. And that's pretty damn cool. Because if I, again, doing a golf campaign or a skiing campaign, and they said, you know what, you're worthy, I'll sign up for that. I need to hold up my end of the deal and provide value from that transaction. At the end of the day, instead of jealous girlfriend on the side of the couch, this is what we want to see. We want to see email, social media, and the marketer all hanging out together, working together, using each other's strengths to create positive vibes, good times. Yeah, they just make me happy. It makes me miss my grandma. At the end of the day, I ran across this quote, and the single biggest problem in communication is that the illusion that it has taken place. And I think that's so true with what we've been doing with email marketing. We're blasting messages, hoping people are clicking through, or hoping that it's going to resonate in some way. But really what we need to do is we need to put the communication back in to email and be an enabler to our audiences to push them to where the conversation is, to show them how they can contribute. How can they help us market? Maybe they don't even know it, but we send them over to the Facebook conversation, and all of a sudden they're helping us do our job better. So reinventing what we're doing there is really, really, really cool and really easy to do, I think. Because you're all doing, like over the last few years, I've seen such huge improvements with what people are doing on social. Besides just the like us to win, or do you love Memphis? And now we're actually doing really, really cool stuff. So let's just share that content and share that story and start telling that story within our email marketing. And I think over time, our value proposition for the consumer is going to go up, and it's going to be something they're going to enjoy going through. I mean, I really see email moving towards almost like a social content or digital content landing page in a lot of ways that curates our best, most interacted with content that relates to the niche and the interest as to why somebody signed up. And then they get that, and they're exploring your destination on Instagram. They're exploring the Pinterest boards. They're going through your blog, reading a bunch of blog posts. One quick tip, because I got like 2 minutes left. In your blog, organize your blog to relate to other blogs that relate to the blog. I see a lot, and it just bothers me. So if I'm really into whale watching and I want to go and do that, at the bottom of your blog, it should be read more articles about whale watching. Don't say, oh, by the way, you'll probably really like this blog about the craft show. It's no. Keep the discovery process going. That's our job. Keep people discovering, keep moving the ball forward, and start integrating this content, start using it in multiple different ways. That's all I've got. I hope that kind of sparks some ideas anyway of how you can use some of this stuff and do a better job.